Do I want to be up here? What sector has more economic impact than the automotive and manufacturing industry? It's 50% larger than Canada's entire retail trade industry. While you're thinking of large buildings downtown, I'm going to challenge you to think about a sector that is making a difference every day. It's the nonprofit and charitable sector. Economic impact, environmental impact, and social impact. I'm focusing on economic impact because if I talked about the environmental and social impact, you probably wouldn't be that surprised. We hear about that every day. Canada by the numbers, 161,000 nonprofits, $112 billion to our economy, second largest nonprofit workforce in the world, 11.8 million volunteers, 2 million staff, and over 75% of nonprofits and charities have no staff or 10 staff or less. So let's imagine London, Ontario, just for a minute, without tree planting, museums, hospitals, environmental organizations, sports teams, homeless shelters, community resource centers, women's shelters, retirement homes, theaters, libraries, youth centers, hospitals, hospices, art galleries. And this is where Jody is supposed to come up and do some tap dancing. Thank you. London by the numbers. Thank you. 1,000 nonprofits and charities just here in London. 60% of Londoners are volunteering. National average is 46%. You rock, 60%. And $672 million in volunteer time if we put an economic value on this. So I'm here to say nonprofit is equal to business, nonprofit is equal to government, and we need to be working in alignment. We need to be working together to create community impact, shared community vision, community impact, and we need to be at the table when we're talking about economic revitalization of London. So I'm asking each of you to think about what part do you have to play in that. I'm not here to say nonprofit sector is better than business and government. I'm here to say we need to work together. So this is just a little sideline. Nicole here had the idea, uphill croquet party, next staff meeting in August. She had the idea. Darren Laidman from Fresh FM was talking about his itchy back. She sent him some body lotion and a back scratcher and said, D, pillars got your back. Anyways, okay, back to the story. Myths for nonprofits. So there's all sorts of myths that are happening out there. They say don't spend any dollars on marketing. Now can you imagine Coca-Cola, Walmart, I don't want to know how you feel about them, but don't use any marketing dollars at all. This doesn't make sense. There's so many messages out there. We need to spend strategically to get our message so that we're not only on at 2 o'clock in the morning. Only hire do-gooders and those who will work for very little. Businesses are competitive against other businesses when they have an offer out there. In the nonprofit sector, we can't expect that people are going to work for nothing or for very little. Spend as little as possible on fundraising. Fundraising is not free. It's about relationship building. It takes time. It takes some money. Yes, we have to be completely responsible, but we need to be thinking about investing some. Act more like a business. This is my favorite. So don't spend anything on overhead. What they're really saying is don't spend anything on marketing, don't spend on staff. But what we want to say is that we need to invest in staff, we need to invest in marketing. So we need to, don't spend too much on overhead. So I come into Gibbs Grill House here and I say to you, okay, I've had this great meal, and I pay for the bill and I say I want all the money to go to the chef because that's who made my experience the best. Well, who's paying for the rent? Who's paying for the bartender? Who's paying for the infrastructure for the rest? So I want you to imagine for a minute, because stand up, we're overhead, that there are no staff at all in nonprofits. No museum without a museum curator, no shelter with no crisis counselor, no festival without an organizer, no orchestra without musician, theater with no actors, sporting game with no referees or umpire, multicultural center without settlement workers, or community pool with no lifeguard. We are the animators, I am overhead, of nonprofits and of our community, and so we need to be investing in the people because they're the competitive advantage of nonprofits. It's about those that we serve, it's about the volunteers, because I know that you all volunteer, and it's about the staff in nonprofits and charities and making sure that we invest in that. So I would like to say that I am overhead, Nicole's overhead. There's many people who are overhead, and volunteers aren't free either. We need to invest in our nonprofits and in our communities. So now what? I'm saying let's tell the stories of nonprofit sector. Let's make sure we have community innovation labs where we're trying something new and taking risks. Let's sit the nonprofit sector at the table when we're talking about economic development, whether it's municipally or provincially. Thank you.